ever saw the cartoons of Rankin and Bass, they did their own version of The Hobbit.
I saw The Hobbit.
Yes, okay, you saw The Hobbit. But they did do other things besides The Hobbit. That I don't know if they did the trilogy of Lord of the Rings or anything like that, but they did The Hobbit and possibly something else I can't remember.
Well, they did.
'Cause I know
most of the old classics.
Really, they did. Okay.
Yeah, that was Rankin and Bass.
Okay, so if you remember that style of animation, that style was very popular in the 70s, and everything that you saw me talking before earlier, like the Mermaid one, the Selfish Giant, it was all done in that style.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful animation. That was my white whale for the longest time. I remember these cartoons, I used to tell people about them, they said, you're out of your fucking mind, right? And then finally, what do you know it? Somebody put them all on YouTube. I said, I watch it, I dare you, but don't let your kids watch it. It's going to bring them down.
Hell, Bambi brought me down.
Man, Bambi! Oh man, I told you about Bambi. Bambi's like a practical joke that's been going on for 60 years that nobody ever catches on to. Oh God! Oh man, I absolutely love what they did in Bambi because who here told me the story before? I think I may have told it here last week. I worked in animation.
Mm-hmm.
I was studying animation at a place called Sheridan College. We had to learn everything. We had to paint our own backgrounds, make our own cells, of course, do all the animation, do all the plotting, yada yada, and all the stuff, right? And we had a class where we had to learn how to paint background scenes, and we had to learn how to do a forest scene. Now, you can't just paint a forest. You can't do that. You have to lay it out as a scene that you can plot properly, where you could sit the characters down and stuff like that. So it's very complicated. When we were given the assignment, Disney had re-released Bambi out in the theaters. So right after we got the assignment, I said, look, there's a movie theater just, right next door at the big mall. Bambi's playing. Why don't we just head over there, pay to see the movie, and look at how the best experts in the world paint, forest scenes, because it's nothing but forest scenes throughout the whole movie. And everyone said, it's a great idea. Let's all go. The whole class, we all went. Of course, there's a million kids there. Right, there's a whole mess of kids. So we just, we grabbed popcorn and Coke and whatever, sat down, sat through the whole movie, and we sort of took mental notes of all of the things that they did as to how they lived. Because we're not watching the movie, we're just kind of deconstructing it. We weren't really sitting and enjoying it, unfortunately. And like I said, I had no idea how that movie was it doesn't end that way. It's kind of somewhere a little past halfway through or whatever. Nobody knew that scene was in there. It was like a giant sandbag had just dropped on your head from 40 floors up. Just wham! Somebody shoots Bambi's mom. And I'm just sitting there going, it was like the giant record scratch moment. Like, what the fuck? Did that just happen? That just happened, man. Somebody just blew Bambi's mom's brains out all over the place. Holy shit. And just to confirm that she's dead, Bambi's father comes up to him and tells him, yep, your mom's dead now. You're on your own, kid. Mom is dead. Like, just to make sure there's no, there's no like, oh, maybe she fell down the cliff and disappeared and she'll come back later. No, she's dead. Right? And let me tell you what happened. It started with just one kid in the very front. Started going, and then it spread like a wave throughout the whole theater, like, of all these crying kids, right? And we were sitting there going, holy shit. Like, are these, it was so bad. Like, we thought, are these kids going to riot or something? What the fuck's going on? Right? And we were just freaking out over this. So when the movie was finally over, we left the theater and we could see the guy who sold the tickets, and he's got this expression on his face like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go again. Right?
Hey, Kirsten.
Hey, Kirsten. Hi, Kirsten. Have a seat. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
I've been looking forward to it all week.
Excellent.
Spell it just like my sister's.
Okay.
I spelled it wrong.
So anyway, let me tell you what happened. This poor guy who's running the ticket booth, has all these women come running up to him going, "You son of a bitch, nobody told me this fucking Disney film shoots baby, for Christ's sake. What kind of bullshit movie is this? You're trying to make our kids turn them into fucking psychos. What the hell's wrong with you goddamn people trying to show a movie like this, for God's sake?" Oh, 7, 8 women all just, they all have that soccer mom, I want to speak to the manager kind of haircut, just running up there and just laying into this poor guy. Like, "You goddamn crazy son of a bitch bastard fucking kids. My kids are gonna be crying for a whole fucking week and traumatized, for Christ's sake." And I thought, holy crap, that poor bastard. We just kind of slunk out of there, before anyone tried to drag us into the mess. And I thought, man, that is so funny. But I got to tell you about another time. This story will probably run over into the opening of the show. I have to tell you this because this is so funny. This is an actual story. We can hear you.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, we want to hear you too. We really do want to hear you.
We want to hear you.
Came online, but didn't you say that Thinker couldn't come tonight for some reason?
I think he said that last week. I don't remember him saying it this week. I think this
good.
week
I hope
he
he's
should be
coming
open.
here. Okay.
Yeah, last week he said he couldn't come. This week he should be coming. Anyway, let me hop into this. Who here remembers what video stores were like when they first opened way back in the early 1980s?
Beta.
Right. Who remembers
hey,
that?
Thinker, hugs Jamie.
Is Thinker here?
Hey,
Thinker?
I heard his voice.
Beta. Laserdisc. Yeah.
I didn't. Hold on. Let me check my radar. People who
Maybe
are
it was
people.
Tindy in the background behind you.
Yeah, I don't see him. He's not here.
Okay.
Anyway, now who here remembers video stores back in the early 1980s? Anyone?
I do.
You do. Okay. Video stores, when they first opened, were really run by people who didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing.
Yeah.
Right. They really didn't know. And do you remember how they used to be sorted? Where they had a sci-fi section, a horror section, and a drama section. Okay, and when you look at some of these movies, and you're sitting there going, wow, this must have been sorted by a flippin' blind person. Like, who the hell would put Star Wars in a drama section? Or something.
It's drama.
There's drama. There's all kinds of drama in there. It's like, no, it's science fiction. Get over there.
There's Thinker. See, I knew
I
he
think-
was nearby.
Are you ready?
Hi, Thinker. Hello.
Yay.
Yep,
Okay, now around 1980, 1981, some really weird experimental films came out. Who here remembers Heavy Metal that was directed by Ivan Reitman, the same guy who did Ghostbusters?
I remember.
Vaguely.
Vaguely. It was a cartoon that had like lots of beautiful big-breasted women running around topless and naked all the way through it, and rock and roll and stuff like that. Right? Really weird
Bizarre
movie.
cartoon, but
Right, bizarre. Well, there was a lot of bizarre cartoons being made back in those days. Most of them are being made by a gentleman known as Ralph Bakshi. Ralph Bakshi is famous for doing the animated version of Lord of the Rings, which was terrible. He did Fire and Ice, which was based on a bunch of, once again, beautiful, big-breasted babes walking around in bikinis. All kinds of stuff like that. Now, this is the beginning of the show. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Hey,
we're going to do
Dan.
some comedy first. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to hand it off to
Hey, Dan.
Why Not.
why?
Look
We'll
at
do some-
Dan's outfit.
How you
Look
doing?
at Dan's outfit. That's great.
Hey, oh, you're green. It's lovely. You're
It's
green.
great.
Yeah, I didn't have anything done in time to put some green. I had this outfit on from Tuesday. I'm just going to leave it on because it's cute and I like it. I like being cute.
well, it's got some blue-green in it.
Yeah, there's some green in it.
Aqua.
Close enough. It's close enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So back to the story. There's a bunch of movies out there that were adult cartoons, but most people were very ignorant as to what an adult cartoon is. You have to understand. They don't have a damn clue, right? Ralph Bakshi made this adult cartoon. I think it was way back in the 60s. It was called Fritz the Cat. Fritz the Cat
yes.
is full of... Right, Fritz the Cat is full of nudity, drug use, swearing, violence... Naked cats, people screwing each other, softcore sex. It was not hardcore, but pretty close, right? And that was
Naked pussies.
Right, naked pussies getting well. I think he was having an affair with a rabbit or a fox person. I have no idea. Anyway, I went there, and I know Fritz the Cat because I'm really into cartoons. I collected Heavy Metal magazine. I know all these things, right? And I was going through the video store, and I noticed he's got Fritz the Cat on sale for rent in the kiddie section with all the Disney films.
Oh my God.
In the Disney section. All right, and I don't remember if I said anything or not, but if I said anything, nothing came of it because that movie never left that section. I went there a few days later. I remember, and there was this lady who had the box, Fritz the Cat, and she's screaming at the manager saying, "This fucking movie's full of sex and swearing and violence and nudity and all this goddamn shit. I rented this for my kid's birthday party, for fuck's sake, I can't do What's wrong with you, man? I rent this movie."
Oh,
Whole time.
That's funny.
Okay, the whole time. The guy is looking at her, and he's not budging. He's saying, "It's a fucking cartoon, lady. You're crazy. Of course it's in the kids section. It's a cartoon. Cartoons go in the kids section. All cartoons go in the kids section."
No.
You know? The only thing this guy had to do was take a look at the back of the box, because right on the back of the box, there's a scene right there that shows him having hardcore intercourse with a rabbit. It's printed right there in the box.
Is it not writing?
Yep.
You know, it's right there. It's all you have to do is look. Saying, "Look, a cat's fucking a bunny there. That means you don't put this in the kids section." And the guy just dismissed this lady. It's like, "You're out of your fucking mind." As soon as the fight was over, you know what he did? He took that tape, he put it right back in the Disney section.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Stuck it right back. It's a cartoon. It goes in the cartoon kitty section. That's where it belongs.
Oh,
So with that, I am
God.
going to hand it off to Nott. She's going to do some comedy for everyone tonight.
Aw. Yay, no. Hey, I want to know, is there anyone else here who wants to do any comedy tonight?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Thinkerer.
Eva.
Not me.
Eva.
No, not me.
Oh.
Why not? Sorry.
Not tonight. Okay. Well,
Oh, well, I saw
anyways,
Eva put her hand up. You put your hand up. You have to do it. You got to tell a joke.
Eva, raise your hand. Now she's got it. My brother sent me a Scotland classroom joke that I thought was kind of adorable because I love kid jokes anyway. And the teacher in Scotland says, "I was testing children in my Glasgow Sunday school class to see if they understood the concept of getting into heaven, and I asked them, if I sold my house and my car, had a big jumble sale, and gave all my money to the church, would that get me into heaven?" And all the children screamed, "No." "If I cleaned the church every day, mowed the garden, and kept everything tidy, would that get me in heaven?" I asked. And they all screamed in unison, "No." No. I'm starting to smile by now, and then I say, "Well, then if I was kind to animals and gave sweets to all the children and loved my husband, would that get me into heaven?" And they all screamed again, "No." Well, I was just bursting for pride for them, and I continued. Then I said, "How could I get into heaven?" And the 6-year-old boy shouted, "You've got to be fucking dead." And it was tear to your eye. This game warden's walking along a beach one morning, and he spots this man with a bucket of lobsters. The warden walks up to the man and flashes his badge. He goes, "You're in big trouble, buddy. Poaching lobsters is a serious offense." And the man says, "Oh, you got it all wrong. These lobsters are my pets. Every morning I take them out for some exercise. I let them swim around in the ocean a few minutes. I whistle them back in." And the warden looks at him real skeptically. He goes, "All right, prove it." So the man throws the lobsters in the ocean, and he and the warden stand there waiting a bit. And after a couple of minutes, the warden looks at him. He goes, "All right, that's long enough. Whistle them back in." The man turns to the warden and says, "What? What lobsters?" I like to do crossword puzzles, so I bought a new thesaurus today, and God, my new thesaurus is just terrible. No, not only that, but it's terrible.
Must be Webster's. Theirs is crap.
I like to see a world without plagiarism. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
You copied that from somebody. Oh, are you? Oh.
My grandpa, he was a peeping Tom. He lived in this apartment, and he used to drill holes in the floor, and he'd spy on the people down below. Well, he died recently, but I like to think about him being up there looking down on all of us.
Yeah, like a big pervert.
The ship that was carrying blue paint and a ship that was carrying red paint crashed on an island. All the sailors were marooned.
Maroon.
I got a girlfriend that likes to slap on the old makeup, and I looked at her the other day, and I said, look, you drew your eyebrows way too high. She seemed really surprised. I just bought some shoes from a drug dealer, and I don't know what he laced them with, but I've been tripping all day. That's a repeat, but I like it. You know, the Lord said unto John, come forth and receive eternal life. But John came fifth, and he got a toaster.
Yeah, he got the...
There were 3 kingdoms, each bordering on the same lake, and for centuries, these kingdoms had fought over an island in the middle of the lake. Well, one day they decided to have it out once and for all. So the first kingdom that was kind of rich, they sent an army of 25 knights. Each of them had 3 squires. Well, the night before the battle, all the knights jousted and cavorted as their squires polished armor, cooked food, and sharpened the weapons. Well, the second kingdom wasn't so wealthy. They sent only 10 knights, and they each had 2 squires. Well, the night before the battle, the knights cavorted and sharpened their weapons as the squires polished the armor and prepared dinner. Well, the third kingdom was really poor. They sent 1 elderly knight with his sole squire. And the night before the battle, the knight sharpened his weapon while the squire, using a looped rope, slung this pot high over a fire to cook while he prepared the knight's armor. Well, the next day, the battle began. All the knights of the first 2 kingdoms had cavorted a little bit too much. One should never cavort while sharpening weapons and jousting, you know. And they couldn't fight. And the squire of the third kingdom couldn't rouse the elderly knight in time for combat, so, in the absence of the knights, the squires fought. Well, the battle raged into the late hours, but when the dust finally settled, a solitary figure limped from the carnage. A lone squire from the third poor kingdom dragged himself away, beaten, bloodied, but victorious. And it just goes to prove, the squire of the high pot and noose is equal to the sum of the squires of the other 2 sides.
That's good.
That was good.
Good. Like it.
A little long pun, but anyway.
Yeah.
The systems programmer walked in a bar with a parrot on his shoulder. The bird squawks, "Oh, pieces of 9, pieces of 9." The bartender turned to the programmer and he says, "What's up with that?" Programmer says, "Oh, it's a parody error." And the bartender says, I thought he was a bit off. Now, is Fiddler here?
Arg!
This was for Fiddler. Is he even here yet?
Fiddler, I don't
Not-
see him.
no.
No.
That little turd. Well, at least
Wait,
Lisa,
wait.
remember this for him.
Okay.
How do you think the unthinkable? With an iceberg.
Oh, I think the unthinkable. Right. Right.
But this bounty hunter wandered into an old Texan town looking for the latest wanted posters, and he didn't find any, so he went to the local sheriff's. "So, who needs bringing in around here?" he asked the sheriff. "Well, there's only one god-awful fugitive around here, the baddest guy in the West. They call him the Brown Paper Cowboy." "Why do they call him that?" the bounty hunter asked. "Well, 'cause he wears a brown paper hat, a brown paper jacket, and brown paper boots." "Well, that's weird," says the bounty hunter. "What's he wanted for?" "Rustling," said the sheriff.
Rustling. Okay.
I had dinner the other night with world chess champion Gary Kasparov, and there was this gingham checkered tablecloth. Took him 2 freaking hours to pass me the salt.
Oh. Yeah, but did you win?
You know, I didn't win. He's awfully good. He's terrible.
Yeah, checkmate. You just
Well,
passed
plus
you the
it took
salt.
so damn long to get the salt for my food. I think I got dehydrated. This guy's driving down the road. It's an old country road, and he sees a farmer in his orchard, and he's feeding the pigs, but He's taking one pig at a time, holding it up and letting it eat an apple out of a tree. Then he sets down the pig and picks up another pig and lets him eat an apple. And the guy pulls over and he walks up to the farmer. He says, wouldn't it save time to just knock all those apples on the ground and let them pigs eat them all at once? And the farmer says, what the hell's time to a pig? I guess the farmer wasn't too busy either. Oh, somebody's doing some jumps around the bar. That's hilarious. He doesn't, my brother, he doesn't drink anything stronger than pop. Well, but, you know, Pop will drink anything. This guy walked into his house with a duck under his arm, and he walked up to his wife, and he goes, this is the pig I've been fucking. And his wife says, that's a duck. And he says, I wasn't talking to you. Two drunks are walking down the street, and they come across a dog sitting on the curb licking his privates, and they watch a little while, and one of them goes, boy, I sure wish I could do that. And the other one says, well, don't you want to make friends with him first? That's a pretty bad one, too. All right, the local sheriff was looking for a deputy. So Gomer, who wasn't really the sharpest nail in the bucket, he went to try out. Okay, the sheriff drawled. Gomer, what's 1 and 1? 11, he replied. The sheriff thought to himself, well, that's not what I meant, but he is kind of right. All right, what 2 days of the week start with the letter T? Gomer says, today and tomorrow? Well, surprise again that Gomer got a correct answer that he'd never even thought of himself. He said, all right, Gomer, listen carefully. Who killed Abraham Lincoln? And Gomer looked a little surprised, and then he thought real hard, and finally he said, I surely don't know. And the sheriff says, well, why don't you go home and you work on that one for a little while? So Gomer wandered over to the pool hall where all his buddies hung out, waiting to hear the results of his interview, and Gomer was exultant. It went great, he says. First day on the job, and I'm already working on a murder case. Wow. Did you guys hear that Cher's joining the Spice Girls?
Really?
They called her Old Spice.
Oh, that's deep. I love it.
Poor Cher.
Blonde customer looked at this busty waitress and was reading her name tag. She says, well, Debbie, that's real cute, but what did you name the other one? Did you hear about the plastic surgeon who totally removed a woman's buttocks? Disaster.
Oh, disaster.
This construction worker accidentally cut off one of his ears with an electric saw, and he screamed down to the guy walking in the street below, hey, you see my ear down there? The guy on the street picks up an ear and yells back, is this it? Hell no, the construction worker says, mine hit a pencil behind it. You know how to spot Dolly Parton's kids in a crowd? They're the ones with the stretch marks around their mouths.
Oh,
this one's real bad. What's green and eats nuts?
I don't know.
Me when I'm really drunk.
Syphilis!
Yeah.
You know the difference between a psychologist and a magician?
No.
A magician pulls rabbits out of hats, but a psychologist pulls habits out of rats.
That's good.
Two female coworkers are chatting it up, and they're discussing the boyfriends they've had in the last year. One girl says, the last 3 boyfriends I've had, I've named after soda pops. First one I called 7-Up because he had 7 inches and he knew how to keep it up. And the second one I called Mountain Dew because when it came to Mountain, he knew what to do. Third one I called Jack Daniels. Another girl interrupts her and she goes, wait a minute, isn't Jack Daniels hard liquor? And the girl smiled and goes, oh, yes, it is.
Okay.
One day, the Pope was in from Italy, and after a rough week of meeting archbishops and other religious figures, he decided to go see the Galveston shore in Texas. When he arrived in his Pope-mobile, he sees a man struggling for his life against a shark. And upon a closer look, he sees it's John Kerry. He's horrified, and he starts to call for help, but a speedboat pulls up alongside Mr. Kerry with George Bush, Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney leans over and pulls him out. Then George W. Busy and Bush it is, and Dick Cheney begin to beat the shark to death with baseball bats. The two men notice the Pope, and they land the boat on the beach. The Pope says, I know that there's been a lot of attention and strife in this election, but I can see that you two men respect each other and would help each other in their house of need. You have my blessings, you two. And he packs off and drives out of sight. And Bush says, who the hell was that? Well, that was the Pope, Mr. President. He's all-knowing and in touch with God, leader of the Catholic Church, Cheney says. And Bush says, well, shoot, that's all neat and fine, but he doesn't know anything about shark fishing. How is that bait holding up anyway? Now, I think a few of you were there Tuesday, but some of you weren't, like Glisa, so, and Eva, so I'm going to do a few from Tuesday night. A construction site boss was interviewing men for a job when along came this guy, Murphy. And the boss thought, God, I'm not going to hire that lazy Mick, so he decided to set this test up, hoping he wouldn't be able to answer the questions, and then he could refuse him the job. Well, the first question was, without using numbers, represent the number 9. And Murphy says, oh, that's easy. And he draws 3 trees. And the boss says, what the hell is that? Murphy says, tree and tree and tree make 9. Fair enough, says the boss. Well, the second question is going to be the same rules, but you got to represent 99. And Murphy stares into space a minute, and then he makes a smudge on each tree. There you go, sir. And the boss scratching his head, and he goes, how on earth do you get that to represent 99? And Murphy says, each tree's dirty now, so it's dirty tree and dirty tree and dirty tree. That's 99. Now the boss is getting real worried. He's going to have to hire him. So he says, all right, question number 3. Same rules again, but represent the number 100. And Murphy stares into space again, and then he shouts, I got it! And he makes a little mark at the base of each tree, and he says, there you go, sir. 100. And the boss looks at Murphy, and he's thinking, oh, I got him this time. All right, Murphy, you got to be crazy if you think that's 100. Murphy leans forward, and he points to the marks at the tree bases, and he says, a little dog comes and craps by each tree. So now you got dirty tree and a turd, dirty tree and a turd, and dirty tree and a turd. That makes 100. When do I start my job? An Irishman, an Englishman, and a beautiful girl are riding together in a train with a beautiful girl in the middle of them. And the train goes through a tunnel. It's completely dark in there. Suddenly, there's a kissing sound and then a slap. The train comes out of the tunnel. The woman and Irishman are sitting there looking perplexed, and the Englishman's bent over holding his face red from an apparent slap. The Englishman's thinking, damn it, that Mick must have tried to kiss that girl. She thought it was me and slapped me. The girl's thinking, that Englishman must have moved to kiss me, and he kissed the Irishman, and he got slapped instead. And the Irishman's thinking, I hope this train goes through another tunnel. I can make another kissing sound and slap that Englishman again. Yay. Finnegan says, my wife's got a terrible habit of staying up till 2 in the morning. I can't break her of it. His buddy Keenan says, what on earth is she doing at that time? Finnegan says, well, waiting for me to come home. A bunch like that, right? Patrick O'Malley hoisted his beer. He says, here's to spending the rest of me life between the legs of me wife. And he took home top prize for the best toast of the night. Well, in bed later that night, he says to his wife, Mary, I won the prize for the best toast of the night. She said, aye, Patty, that's great. What was your toast? So he said, here's to spending the rest of me life sitting in church beside of me wife. Oh, that's so nice, dear, she said. But the next day, Mary ran into one of Patty's drinking partners in the street. And the man mischievously says, did you hear about your husband winning a prize in the pub the other night for a toast about you, Mary? She says, I was a bit surprised. Till now, he's only been down there twice. Once he fell asleep, and the other time I had to pull him by the ears to make him come. A horse and a chicken are playing in a meadow. And suddenly the horse falls in a mud hole and starts sinking, and he tells the chicken, go get the farmer, help me, pull me out to safety. So the chicken runs to the farmer, but the farmer's nowhere in sight. So he drives the farmer's Mercedes back to the hole, ties rope around the bumper, throws the other end to the friend, drives forward, and saves the horse from sinking. Well, just a few days later, the chicken and horse are playing in the meadow again, and the chicken falls in the mud hole. The chicken tells the horse to go and get some help from the farmer, and the horse says, I think I can get you out. So he stretches over the width of the hole, and he says, grab hold of my thing and pull yourself up. Well, the chicken does this, and he's pulled to safety. And the moral? If you're hung like a horse, you don't need a Mercedes to pick up chicks. A man walks into a pub with an ostrich and a pussycat. He goes up to the bar and he says, beer for me, beer for the ostrich, and whiskey for the cat. Well, the unlikely trio find a table, sit down, and drink their drinks. So the ostrich hits his round next. He walks up. He says, beer for me, beer for the man, and whiskey for the cat. And the ostrich take them back, and they drink them. And when it's the cat's turn, he tells his pals to jerk off. So the man goes back to the bar and asks for 2 more beers and a whiskey. Well, the barman's impressed by the generosity. He says, I noticed that you and the ostrich both bought a round, but that cat hasn't. Why do you hang out with him? The man says, well, I once helped this little old lady across the road. She turned out to be my fairy godmother and granted me one wish, and it landed me with this cat and ostrich forever. And the barman's like, well, what the heck did you wish for? And the guy says, well, a long-legged bird with a tight pussy.
Be careful.
This man wakes up one morning with the filthiest hangover, no recollection of the night before, and he opens his eyes and sees aspirin, a glass of water on the bedside table. He looks around the room, finds his clothes all neatly folded on a dresser, clean shirt on top, the bedroom's immaculate. There's a note that says, darling, your breakfast is in the kitchen, I love you. Downstairs, he finds his favorite cereal, croissants, fresh OJ, brewed coffee, everything laying out for him, even the morning paper, and his little son sitting there finishing his breakfast. He's like, tell me, son, what happened last night? Well, says the boy, you come home so blind drunk, you didn't even know your own name, you nearly broke the door down, and then you were sick in the hallway. Then you knocked the furniture over, and when Mom tried to calm you down, you thought she was the police, so you gave her a black eye. Holy shit, says the man, how come my clothes are all folded, the house is tidy, and my breakfast is ready? Well, when Mom dragged you in the bedroom and tried to get your trousers off and pull you into the bed, you shouted at her, get off your filthy hands, you whore, I'm married. Once 2 ladies came before King Solomon fighting over a little boy. He's my son-in-law, one said. No, he's mine. Well, he's not a little boy. It was a man, really. No, he's mine, the other says. After thinking a few minutes, the king finally decided on a ruling. Bring me my sword. We'll cut this man in half. Each of you can have half. No, the first lady screamed. Don't cut him in half. I'd rather the second lady just get the whole son-in-law. Ha! Ha ha ha. Solomon smiled. Now I know who the real mother-in-law is. Only a real mother-in-law would stand quietly while her son-in-law gets cut in half.